Welcome back to Fear Consortium, your sanctuary of terror. Before we unravel tonight's haunted history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Fear Consortium. Tonight, we ascend to the highest point of a place steeped in strife, legend, and restless spirits. Fort Holmes on Michigan's enigmatic Mackinac Island. Tonight, let's wind back the clock to 1814, deep into the War of 1812, an age when the balance of power over the Great Lakes hung by a thread. British troops, wary of losing what they'd gained, dragged shovels, timbers, and cannons up the steep wooden slopes of Mackinac Island's peak. Their goal? To build an earthen redoubt, Fort George, securing the high ground and ensuring Fort Mackinac below couldn't be snatched by surprise, as they themselves had done to the Americans at the war's outset. You could almost hear the clang of picks and the strained breaths of soldiers as they heave soil and logs, looking over stunning 360-degree vistas, views that could warn a friend or foe alike. Days and nights blurred together as the fort took shape. Yet what those soldiers may not have known, this ground beneath their boots had seen centuries of reverence and sorrow before the first musket ever fired. Once the Treaty of Net closed out the war, the Americans retook Mackinac. They renamed the hilltop stronghold Fort Holmes in memory of Major Andrew Holmes, who perished leading an assault here, a name echoing with sacrifice and duty. Yet Fort Holmes would never be more than an outpost, a sentinel for the bustling bastion of Fort Mackinac below. By 1817, the fort, its mission complete, was abandoned, left to be gnawed by rain, roots, and time. But history is cyclical, and every so often hands of the living return to restore the past. Rebuilt by the Works Progress Administration in 1936, then again in 2015. Fort Holmes now stands resurrected, blockhouse, earthworks, and all, as a museum of memory, perched atop the island's crown. It is a place for quiet contemplation, panoramic wander, and for those who listen closely, something else. The murmurs of the unseen. As daylight fades and shadows lengthen beneath the pines, Fort Holmes transforms. More than a landmark, it becomes a portal. Visitors, history buffs, and daredevil guest hunters all recount stories that mount with each passing year. Most famously, locals and travelers alike tell of three ghostly soldiers. Colonial uniforms shimmering ethereally, faces pale, eyes focused far beyond this world. Standing guard at the parapet or lost in conversation, as if discussing orders. They appear at dusk, when the island exhales and light wanes, or sometimes deeper in the night, beneath starlit stillness. Some have heard the sharp cadence of boots on gravel, unmistakable, out of time, or the clipped bark of long-forgotten military commands swirling with the wind. Approach too quickly, and the figures are said to vanish, sometimes vaporizing before your eyes, sometimes slipping silently between the trees. Afterward, a sudden, icy chill lingers on the skin, an oppressing awareness that you are not alone. Some speculate these uniformed spirits are soldiers felled during the American assault led by Major Holmes, a moment of violence and hope forever locked in a spiritual loop. Others think one may be Major Holmes himself, condemned to eternity atop the place that bears his name, but not his peace. Visitors have also reported hearing phantom cannon fire echoing faintly in the distance during quiet nights. A spectral replay of battles long since past, as if the past itself replays its agony endlessly. But it's not only the soldiers who speak from shadows. The island's deep Native American history pulses beneath the soil. Legend holds that Fort Holmes was sited atop sacred Ojibwa burial grounds. The Ojibwa people, also known as the Anishinaabe, have a profound spiritual connection to the land and the waters surrounding Mackinaw Island. Their beliefs include a profound respect for ancestors, the natural world, and the spirits that reside in all things. The fort's location was once home to burial mounds and the sacred ceremonial sites, a resting place and spiritual ground that predates European conflicts by centuries. In the stillest early hours, some visitors claim to hear voices, soft, plaintive tones on the breeze, sometimes in English, sometimes whispering in the syllabic tongue of the Ojibwa. These are not merely random sounds, but are often interpreted as ghostly echoes of prayers, chants, and traditional song. The voices are rarely clear, more suggestion than speech, unplaceable chanting, murmured conversations, or a cry of warning that flickers between trees and vanishes. Paranormal investigators have captured electronic voice phenomenon, EVP, within the ruined walls, sighs, laughter, even what some linguists discern as fragments of Ojibwa, possibly ancestral calls of spiritual messages. Some believe these are the memories of ancestors, unsettled by centuries of war and disturbance, who rise with the mist to remind the living that this is more than a battlefield. It is sacred ground. The Ojibwa, known for their rich oral traditions, have stories that involve spirits of warriors and protectors who watch over the land. Some local Ojibwa descendants recount the spirits of their ancestors move to Fort Holmes, not as ghosts to be feared, but as guardians ensuring the sanctity of the land is not forgotten. Some locals tell of a particular spot near the southern edge of the fort where an ancient burial mound once stood, where the veil between worlds feels thin. Here, an unseen presence is said to brush by visitors, accompanied by faint drum beats, like an echo of tribal ceremonies long lost in time. It's said that on certain sacred nights the sound of traditional Ojibwa drums can be felt more than heard, as if communicating across the realm of the living and the spirit world. A spectral ballad of lights, floating orbs, sometimes white and drifting, other times brilliant blue or orange, has haunted the fort's gardens through generations. Locals call them spirit lights. They sneak between trees at the edge of vision, gliding over the battlements or flickering among the graves on the forested slopes below. Some attribute these enigmas to residual energy from the violence of the War of 1812. Others say they're the guardians of the ancient dead, or wayward souls seeking home. One oft-shared tale tells of a visitor who, in the cool hush before dawn, saw a lantern bobbing along the ridge, though every living soul was down in town. When he approached, the light snapped out, but the spot where it vanished was icy cold, despite the warming day. Another chilling account speaks of a glowing orb that followed a group of hikers for several minutes, weaving silently through the trees, before dissolving into the mist near the blockhouse. There are chills that no blanket thwarts. Some recount sudden, heavy pressure on their shoulders, like a spectral hand, urging them forward or warning them back. Others, trekking the path up from the cemeteries at the base of the hill, find themselves buffeted by cold gusts on still summer nights. At the blockhouse entrance, some feel invisible fingers brush their arms or backs. Skeptics dismiss it as nerves or weather. But when enough people feel the same dread in the same place, even doubters hesitate. There are also reports of strange scents, earthy, wood smoke, or even something floral, appearing with no explanation, often accompanying these sensations. Among Fort Holmes's more eerie tales is that of the phantom drummer. On certain nights, visitors hear the distant beating of a drum, steady and rhythmic, growing louder near the old fort's walls, only to vanish as mysteriously as it began. Legend says the drummer was a sentry killed during the battle, doomed to forever call the roll of the dead. Likewise, the specter of a woman in period dress is said to roam the ridge at twilight, weeping softly. Some say she is a mourning relative of a fallen soldier, or perhaps an Ojibwa woman whose sacred grounds were disturbed, eternally searching for peace. The supernatural tapestry doesn't end at Fort Holmes, Mackinac Island. Layered in centuries of battles and ceremonies, has been named America's most haunted town. Thousands of ghost stories emanate from the winding lanes and silent forests. But atop it all, Fort Holmes draws the most attention, physically and paranormally. It's a highlight of ghost tours, a beacon for those who seek proof that death is not the end. Folklore swirls with tales of shadowy forms seen darting between trees, spectral figures marching silently, and even a cold, oppressive presence felt by those unwise enough to spend the night alone on the summit. On certain anniversary nights, especially near the date of Major Holmes' last stand, visitors recount an overwhelming sense of fear, followed by the strange comfort that while they are surrounded by the dead, the spirits have made them part of the island's living story. So if you find yourself climbing through dense trees to the lonely heights of Fort Holmes, marvel at the vistas, peer into the centuries-old blockhouse, but remember, you share this hilltop with countless unseen presences from the past. The next chill on your neck, the next voice in the wind, might belong to those from whom Fort Holmes was never a refuge, only a final duty. Listen closely, and you might just hear the past refusing to let go. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Fear Consortium. Thanks for joining us tonight on Fear Consortium, your sanctuary of terror. Until next time, keep your lantern lit, your resolve steeled, and remember, on Mackinaw's Heights, history never sleeps, and neither do its ghosts.